Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Sharan from Department of Prosthodontics. As a part of e-learning session, today we are going to discuss about cast metal crown preparation. In the previous class, we have been discussed about principles of tooth preparation, what are the importance of each principle, how you get the margin integrity, structural durability, resistance form, retention form. All those things will be discussed in your principles of tooth preparation. So just I give a brief significance of those topics which will be useful when your preparation of cast metal crown, right? Contents of this presentation includes definitions, tooth preparation, cast metal as well as porcelain fused metal, conclusion and references. According to glossary of prosthodontic terms, tooth preparation may be defined as a mechanical treatment of dental disease or injury to hard tissue that restores a tooth to the original form. The current focus is on conservative tooth preparation that is non-invasive and that minimally involves dentin. So your principles of tooth preparation are they are divided or they are classified based on your Schillingberg and Rosenstiel. Based on your Schillingberg, it is principle preservation of tooth structure, retention and resistance, structural durability, marginal integrity, preservation of periodontium. So to start your tooth preparation, first initial basics we will discuss now. For full metal restoration, that is your cast metal restoration, the occlusal reduction is in functional cusp it is 1.5 mm and in non-functional cusp it is 1 mm. Whereas for metal ceramic crowns, in functional cusp we reduce 1.5 to 2 mm, whereas in non-functional cusp we reduce 1 to 1.5 mm. When you perform all ceramic crown preparations, it will be 2 mm all over. Then significance of functional cusp bevel. Why we give the bevel, the two wide bevel? Lingual inclines of maxillary lingual cusps because they are functional cusps in the maxilla. Whereas in mandible we give buccal inclines of mandibular buccal cusps and adequate bulk of metal in the area of where there is heavy occlusal contact. So in these areas we give functional cusp bevel. What happens if you don't give your functional cusp bevel? These things happen, that is there may be thin area in castings, over contourings, over inclinations and supragingival margins. Why you use supragingival margins and subgingival margins? Supragingival margins are indicated mainly because they give less potential for soft tissue damage, they can be easily prepared and finished more easily and they can kept clean, impressions are more easily made and restorations can be easily evaluated at recall appointments. Whereas subgingival margins, these subgingival margins are given when there is aesthetics is important, particularly in your anterior region, and existing caries, cervical erosion or restorations extended subgingivally and crown lengthening is not indicated. Additional retention when it is required. Margin of metal ceramic crown is to be hidden behind the labiogingival crust, and like this, these subgingival margins are given, right? And your finished lines. When you are preparing your cast metal crowns, we give chamfer margin all over. Then what will be the advantage of chamfer margins and which burrs are used? Round and taper burrs can be used, torpedo burrs can be used, right? Then it is distinct, it exhibits least stress, most conservative, indicated when metal forms the margin of restorations, example complete metal crown, right? So like this your chamfer finish line is given. And coming to shoulder Shoulder finish line, it provides an adequate bulk of the material at margins and is recommended for porcelain restorations. So all these things have been discussed in your previous class. Just what points you have to remember when you are doing your cast metal preparation. I'm saying you have to remember the principles of tooth preparation. You have to remember which margin you are giving, whether you are giving supragingival margin or subgingival margin. Then which finish line you are giving, whether you are giving a chamfer finish line or heavy chamfer finish line or shoulder finish line, and what type of burrs are used in your preparation, either it is cast metal or PFM. You can round and diamond burrs will be there, torpedo diamond, short needle, long needle. So for example, round and tapered diamond burr, where they are used? They are used to keep depth orientation grooves, occlusal reduction, functional cusp, torpedo diamond axial reduction, and when you give your chamfer finish line, short needle initial interproximal axial reduction in posterior teeth, long needle initial proximal axial reduction in anterior teeth, and small wheel diamond, it is used in lingual reduction in anterior teeth. Tapered fissure burr, it is used in seating grooves, proximal grooves, smoothing and finishing, occlusal and incisal bevels. Tapered fissure burrs are used in initial groove alignment, angles of proximal boxes, smoothing and finishing, occlusal and incisal bevels. And end cutting burrs, torpedo burrs, flame burrs. So all these things are used when you are doing your preparation. So why I am stressing all these points before we actually start your tooth preparation is because you have to remember each and every principle, and keeping in the mind about which finish line you give and which indication is necessary for cast metal crown or PFM. So all these things should be given. Now we come to the today's class, that is your tooth preparations. See, these tooth preparations are generally classified based on which process you give. For example, when you are planning for the complete metal crown, that is completely you are giving a metal crown. When you are giving a metal coping and on that you are giving porcelain, that is porcelain fused metal, the preparation part differs. And again, when you are giving all ceramic, completely all ceramic, for example zirconia, then your preparation part differs. So like this, depending upon your type of processes, what you give, your preparation differs. Right? Now coming to the cast metal crown, where it is indicated. Indications. It is indicated on the teeth that exhibit extensive coronal destruction, on non-aesthetic zone teeth with extensive restorations, and short clinical crowns. Remember this point, short clinical crowns. Retainer for long span, fixed partial denture on endodontically treated teeth. In cases of generalized adhesion, where vertical dimension is reduced. Right? These are the indications of complete cast crown. And what will be your contraindications? If treatment objectives can be met with a more conservative restoration and extensively restored or cariously involved teeth within the aesthetic zones, these will be contraindications for your cast metal crowns. Then coming to the advantages. What will be the advantage if you give the cast metal crowns? Greater retention and resistance than a more conservative restoration. Strength is superior to that of other restorations. Permits easy modification of the occlusion. Protects the coronal integrity of natural teeth compromised by the restorations. What are the disadvantages? It is no longer feasible to perform electric vitality testing of the abutment teeth. So these will be the indications, contraindications, advantages and disadvantages. Right? Now coming to the tooth preparation. So before you start your tooth preparation, you should know about what armamentarium is required. As I discussed in the earlier slide about burrs. For example, when you are doing simple a cast metal crown in 4/6, so what you require? So you required one round and tapered diamond burr, you require a torpedo diamond burr, you require proximally short needle burrs, right, and end cutting burrs and your finishing burrs, right. So what you are required, as I said, first and most important is your handpiece, that is your aerotor handpiece. Then round and tapered diamond burr, 171 L burr, torpedo diamond burr, torpedo, that is short needle burr, and red utility wax. So these armamentarium you have to keep it ready. Then this preparation should be done in stepwise. So when if you study in your textbook, it will be given in a sequence wise. First, what you have to done. So first you have to do your occlusal reduction or your proximal reduction or your depth orientation. So like this, there will be a sequence of steps. So if you follow that sequence, you can do a best preparation, right. So procedure of tooth, how it is prepared well. First, you select the tooth which you want to prepare. That is should be very important, because if you want to prepare 3/6, you should keep in mind till you complete your preparation that we are going to prepare on 3/6, right. So first neatly isolate it and neatly evaluate it, then take your round and tapered diamond burr approximately, right. You have to keep this place, you have to place the round and tapered diamond burr approximately 1 mm deep in the central, mesial and distal fossa. You can see in the picture where these round and tapered burr are kept. It is placed in the center, particularly mesial and distal fossa, and creating about 1.5 mm of clearance on the functional cusp and 1 mm on the non-functional cusp. That means you are going to do the occlusal reduction, right. That is, you are creating the 1.5 mm clearance in the functional cusps and the 1 mm in the non-functional cusp. Then place these grooves in the buccal and lingual developmental grooves and in each triangular ridge extending from the cusp tip to the center of its base, right. After your selection in the center of the fossa, then you extend that grooves deep into the buccal and lingual developmental grooves and in each triangular ridge extending from the cusp tip to the center of its base. Then on the non-functional cusp, the groove should be parallel the intended cuspal inclination. On the functional, it should be slightly flatter to ensure additional reduction of the functional cusp, right. Then place the depth orientation grooves for a functional cusp bevel across your facial occlusal line angle of the mandibular premolar or molar and across the lingual cusp of the maxillary teeth. Then first, after you make your occlusal preparation, then keep the depth orientation grooves in your labial aspect of your premolar or the molar, right, with your round and tapered burr. Then rounded tapered diamond burr is used to give parallel to the inward facing inclines of the opposing tooth at a depth of 1.5 mm, usually forming a 45-degree angle with the axial wall. Then complete the occlusal reduction in 2 steps. Half of the occlusal surface is reduced first so that the other half will be maintained as a reference, right. You can see in the picture how it is done, right. Then after completing the occlusal reduction, the clearance can be checked by having the patient to close on a 2 mm thick strip of a rigidity wax. This is one thing to check the occlusal clearance, keeping your rigidity wax and checking the occlusal reduction after you finish your occlusal reduction. Then alignment of your grooves for axial reduction. With the help of narrow, round and tapered diamond burr, 3 alignment grooves are placed in each buccal and lingual wall. Then when grooves are placed, be sure that the shank of the diamond is parallel to the proposed path of withdrawal. When a diamond burr with a 6-degree taper is used, an ideal axial convergence on the preparation wall will result. So you might be studied in the principles of tooth preparation. What is the ideal taper? You don't get the 0-degree taper. So up to 6 degrees of taper is recommended. So see that your aeroter inclination or burr inclination should be less taper, that is 6 degrees taper. Don't go more taper. What happens if you go more taper? Automatically your retention will be compromised, right? So first you kindly check how the placement of your burr is there, whether you are going more tapering or not. Then only complete your tooth preparation. That's why only we are intending that to keep the depth orientation grooves on the either labial walls or lingual walls. If you start directly, if you keep more tapering, then the preparation will come in more tapering only, right? In the lingual also same. That's why when you place your burr, it should be tapered with 6 degrees only. You should not cross your 6 degrees taper. Then gingivally, the resulting depth of preparation should be not more than half the width of the tip of the diamond burr. Otherwise, slip of unsupported enamel will be created. Right? Remember this point. Gingivally, when you are going to prepare, the depth of preparation should be not more than half the width of the tip of diamond burr. Otherwise, a lip of unsupported enamel will be created. How unsupported enamel will be created? This is the reason. When you are preparing, you might be hearing when you show the preparation to the step, unsupported enamel is there. How you are going to create your unsupported enamel? This is the way how unsupported enamel will be created. Then while doing axial reduction, cut into the proximal area from both sides until a few mm of the interproximal area remains. You can see here in the pictures. Now a thin diamond is worked through the proximal area in an occlusogingival or buccolingual sawing motion. Carefully avoid your touching to the adjacent teeth. For preparing in your 3-6, you should not do harm to the 3-7 or 3-5. So that one you should keep in mind and do the proximal preparation. Then once sufficient room is created, the torpedo diamond burr is introduced to the plane the walls while simultaneously forming a chamfer as the interproximal gingival finish line. Right? Then the final step is the placement of a seating groove. It will prevent the rotational tendencies during cementation and will help the casting to guide in place. Right? Then all the axial surfaces are smoothened with a torpedo carbide finishing burr, which will also finish the chamfer finish line. Special care should be taken in rounding the corners from the buccal or lingual surfaces to the proximal surfaces. Right? So this completes your cast metal crown preparation. Right? This is the basic sequence of your preparation. First, start your occlusal preparation in the mesial fossa and the distal fossa. Place the grooves. Then extend these grooves 1.5 mm in the functional cusp and 1 mm in the non-functional cusp. Then place the depth orientation groove on the buccal side. Keep the grooves 3 grooves then extend one groove, half of the tooth extend it, other half don't touch it, it will act as a guidance, then complete it. Then similarly start your lingual side. Then after completing your labial as well as lingual, go to the proximal surfaces, don't touch the adjacent teeth. Then after you complete the mock preparation, then take your torpedo diamond burrs and finish your finish lines, then smoothen all the line angles, point angles, everything. Check your occlusal reduction with your reductive wax, right? So all these things you have to remember and do your metal crown preparation. I will show you the video also, right? I can't upload the video in this PowerPoint. I will post the video separately in the next as a next video, as a next slide. But this is your sequence of the preparation of your cast metal crown, right? Remember that once you see the video, the video will be clearly seen in your YouTube. Even then I will post the video link, right? You watch down the video, right? Clearly see the video, what steps they are following, then practice it in typho teeth, then you can do a very wonderful preparation, right? In the next class we will discuss about porcelain fused metal restorations. Thank you.